Oh my goodness.
This is awesome, y'all.
This is awesome. We are
I
live.
can't see the name, so I'm assuming Jason's in there
Yes.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Or he
Love
was.
that guy.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to season 2 of Campfires and Cat Holes. I'm here with my host, Brian from Carlson Adventures, and our special guest, Jeremy from All Things Outdoors. And we're going to talk some stuff, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? We had a little summertime hiatus because if you're like me, it's way too hot to get out to do too much. So, a little hiatus from the heat, if you will. But now backpacking season is upon us, and I'm excited.
Yes.
So excited for cooler temps.
Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Jason. Hey, Jason. We got KillQuest. We got Jerry from Tangent Trails. We got Michael Peterson.
Look at that
We
guy
got
showing
Ghost. Ghost is in the house.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, what are we going to talk about tonight, Brian? You tell us.
Well, we got all kinds of stuff to catch up on. Hey, Nick, what's up?
What's up, Nick?
Smoky Speed Natural. But no, a lot of stuff to catch up. We had not too much going on this summer, but Chris and I did get out for a couple trips together, and I got some camping done. But I guess we'll start with a big trip that you guys ended up on together. Kind of break it up into some parts here. I guess we talked about the best way to start this, Jeremy, is probably starting with your trip because you did some off-roading before you and Chris kind of hooked up. So
Yeah.
If you want to get into that, kind of tell us what trails I guess you did this year out in Colorado.
Well, starting off before I met up with Chris, there was one particular one. It's south of Denver, and it's called Red Cone Pass. It's it's a difficult trail. I think it's like Onyx has a rated like a 6 or a 7. And at that point, then you're talking some decent sized rocks and ruts and of course, lots of shelf roads and things like that. But I probably the biggest thing it's known for is its steep decline that's on a ridge, like a one car ridge. It's only one way because it is narrow. And it's if you roll off either side, you're going like 900 feet, like rolling down. So, I mean, there's nothing to really stop you. But it's a beautiful trail, lots of iron in the mountains, and it's all above the tree line. So, which is one of the things I didn't really expect, kind of touching up leading up to that trail. I mean, I knew I was going to, try to meet up with Chris and try to summit Elbert. I knew I had plans after that to do some high alpine stuff in southern Colorado, but I didn't really expect this trail to be above 12,000 feet for as long as it did. So, it absolutely gorgeous. So, but basically tried to shotgun it out there. I end up leaving Wednesday evening and shotgunning it as far as I could, slept at a rest stop or tried to. Then a truck, like a semi truck, came in on the wrong side of the rest stop. A semi came in right behind me on the car side. Of course, his lights were shining in. I was like, man, I can't sleep. So I'm just going to get up and drive. Ended up driving the rest of the way there. Got there like Thursday afternoon and already camping out at 10,000 feet. And then woke up that Friday morning and decided to start driving the Red Cone Trail. So it's pretty wild.
I know you've done that before too. So you've kind of just hauled butt all the way out there and then to start hitting the trails in your Bronco on the high elevation. Do you ever, I mean, obviously you don't have time to acclimate. Do you ever get sick or feel anything from the altitude?
No, never before, but that will lead into probably more later on in this discussion. I did have a pretty bad issue, which even in the video that I'm releasing today, I didn't even really understand what was going on, but it was actually kind of a legit problem. So, but before I was like, I've never really had issues. I've went up to, upper 12s into 13s before on some of the passes without acclimating. I mean, I've hiked in Wyoming at Wind River at higher elevation. And my only problem there was dehydration. But never really got altitude sickness, but that being said, this was the trip that if it was going to happen, I absolutely knew that it would happen on this trip, you know? So, but it was kind of crazy because I didn't expect to be above that tree line. And it's a beautiful trail. I mean, it's slow moving. So it's 3 miles and it's like 3 to 4 hours. So you're not going fast at all. So in most of it was, like I said, there's a lot of it above that alpine, that tree line. And then there's a lot of it above 11,500 feet. So, but when I came back down and then started to drive to where Chris is, I was, feeling winded. I think the thing that kind of got me was, I was getting out, put it on the emergency brake, getting out, setting up the camera, running uphill, setting up a camera, doing a drive-by shot, coming back, getting back in the car, having to do that. But I was also doing it solo. So that meant I had to get out, check my line multiple times because, it's some sketchy, areas. Make sure I'm got my tires where I want them and how to adjust. So all that constant getting in and out, running up, running back, I think that kind of got to me a little bit, like right before I got to Chris, which, by the way, was after I finished that trail. I drove right to where Chris's camp was, and then we were going to summit that Saturday morning. So, yeah, it was
definitely a busy trip, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you go to these areas, I have this bad problem of wanting to jam as much as possible in these trips because what if I never get a chance to come back? And Red Cone was one of those rite of passage trails that I've heard it called Colorado's most intimidating trail. Okay, great. Let's do it. It's like I want to do that, and this would have been a perfect opportunity to do it. It was kind of tight timelined.
Yeah. So I've seen your video that's out, so everybody go check that out on the Red Cone.
Hey, get closer to the mic, by the way.
Sorry. So no. So
just go ahead and bring it down.
You've been working out?
This is going great. Anyway, so I've seen your video on that, and it aligns with everybody else. There's one spot. I always watch the videos and think, I think I could do that in my Tacoma. But there's that one spot where you make a hard right-hand corner, and it's got a lot of off-camber stuff. I think that's where I would probably get hung up. But I've also watched – so you hear a lot about Black Bear Pass out there too. And I heard that's really dangerous. Is Black Bear Pass just more dangerous? I know he's done it. That's what I'm asking. Is it more dangerous or is it harder? How do you compare those two?
So I would say Black Bear probably is more dangerous. But you've got a wall on one side. It's not quite as intimidating. I mean, you just got to think through what you're doing. The worst part about Black Bear is like what they call the steps or I've heard it called the stairs. It's before the switchbacks, the steep switchbacks. There's some really, really off camber. I'm talking like 22, 23 degrees where you're dropping down some ledges and there's a lot of flops on that. Just because people don't take the right line or they're top heavy or whatever it is. But that's the part that probably stressed me out the most. I mean, when it comes to just keeping my tires on the road, I don't really worry about that too much just because I feel like if I'm taking my time, I'm being cautious and aware and just being smart. A lot of the roll-offs on Black Bear, it's just people are silly. They're going up backwards because they went up the wrong side or they didn't leave their emergency brake on or something crazy usually happens. Just you make a silly mistake. They're both high consequence because when you're on Red Cone, you can have that on both sides. So there's no wall to stay close to on some of those ridges, but that's the beauty of it. You're driving, it's wider than Black Bear. It's not super narrow to where you don't feel safe, but you do realize like if I go, a couple feet to the left or a couple feet to the right, there's a chance I'm going to hit this loose rock and just go, down the mountain. So there's one part that right before I got to the summit, there was one part where I had to thread these two giant boulders and get between them. And it was barely wide enough for my tires to get through. And I had 37s and another 3 or 4 inches lift, I could probably just go over the boulder, maybe. But I had to thread the needle, and I'm sitting on like 18 degrees of incline. And I didn't get this on camera, mainly because, you know, you get to a point to where you just lock in. All right, I got to get through this situation. I can't worry about trying to record it or whatever. I tried to thread the needle, and I'm on 18 degrees, and my passenger tire went up onto that rock. I didn't get over far enough. So that meant I had to back up like on a side on that 18-degree tilt and readjust, and then try to make it back through those 2 boulders. And when I tried to do that, I remember backing up because I wanted to swing wide, and I'm all on this loose shill and loose rock, and my driver's side tire comes up off the ground because I'm at this horrid angle coming down, and my back tire drops down a little bit. So now I'm at the point where I'm on loose rock. My driver's tire is in the air, and I'm looking like I could be rolling down this mountain any second, like 900 feet. That was probably the one moment that got me. But again, I didn't have the right line, and I was trying to adjust. So those are the things that kind of get you. I did get through it, obviously, but very cautiously. So you made it through Red Cone, and then you head over to Chris's camp. Yeah.
You still not hear me?
Yeah.
You still not hear me,
Yeah.
Chris? Don't need to move my mic down.
You're going to have to.
Let's move it over here a little closer. I was trying to have it above my head because I talk with my hands, and I always hit
This
my
is
mic.
actually better. Yeah, you sound better now.
Is this way better? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just know that I'll probably bump my mic because I
That's all
talk
right.
with my
We're not
hands.
professional.
Right. So, all right. Anyways, you get finished with the Red Cone. Now you head over to Chris. And where were you guys camped at, Chris?
So my first, I was there, you know, I was camping at the Elbert Creek campground, and that's about 10,000 plus. But I did that for the first night, and then I noticed that
I can't hear him.
You can't hear me?
I can hear him.
Can you?
I can hear
Oh, that's weird.
And then I noticed that there was a blue zillion dispersed campsites that I didn't have to pay for. So I came down the mountain a little bit, found a dispersed campsite, and I camped for like a week there before anybody showed up, before Jeremy showed up, before Keith and Bill Smith showed up. So I was there for about a week by myself, which was fine. It was nice and peaceful. But so we were at a place called Half Moon Creek, and there's just a dispersed campsite right off the creek. And then he rolls in, looked like rode hard and put up wet.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, you know, just drive across country and then go do Red Cone and then show up to camp, you know.
And then show up.
Why take it easy?
Yeah, my oxygen levels were great at that point.
Yeah, he was,
I bet. So what day did you actually get to camp, Jeremy?
the night before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Friday
Friday?
afternoon. Friday afternoon at like what, 3 or 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
So I know I had like a solid 8 hours before we started to summit or something like that.
With no acclimation besides what he did.
I mean, you're still a young guy.
Yeah,
So-
I like to think so.
So the goal or the mission this year, Chris going out there, was to actually complete the climb to the summit of Mount Elbert, because you had tried once before, and you did not get to
I got
finish.
pretty
The
high
weather-
up, but weather
But
came in.
came in, right? So you didn't get to finish that, and I know it's been one of your life goals is to complete that hike. So start us off. Tell us about it. Tell us about, like, you know, what time of day did you guys get started? What was the weather like? All that good stuff.
We started at 2:30 in the morning, and the reason for that was to get rid of that variable of weather coming in, because last time I started at 5 in the morning and still had weather. So I'm like, we're not having weather this time. It's something I can control. So we started about 2:30 in the morning, and we started, obviously it was dark. We did not see, and this will come into play later, we did not see the trail, you know, other than our headlamps. We did not see for a good 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, it was a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing because, you know, you're feeling the incline, but you're not really seeing how far you're going, and you're not realizing that you're not going as fast or as far as you think you are. And that came into play on our way back down. But the weather was perfect. The weather was, I mean, we just had perfect temps. We were in good spirits until tree line.
Yeah, there were stages. That was a change. That dropped a notch. So,
yeah. And I know, you didn't have hardly any sleep. He didn't sleep the night before.
I had zero sleep actually. So yeah, I was like clock watching pretty much the whole time. So literally, actually, the last 3 nights I probably had a total of like 2 hours sleep. I mean, it was like going on coffee and testosterone is all it was. So, I mean, just trying to, I think more than anything, it's like I knew Chris's goal and I felt like I wanted to be a part of that, but I also wanted to be there in case he needed me, that kind of thing. It's like, we're in this together. So I'm 1 hour sleep, 0 hour sleep. I don't care. We're going to figure this out, kind of thing. So.
And the no sleep thing comes into play later.
Oh gosh. Yes. Yeah.
So how long did it take you guys from the base to the summit?
9 hours.
9 hours.
9 hours.
How many miles?
5.5.
Wow. So that must be some pretty steep climbing then.
It is.
5.5.
There's other variables there too.
Yeah.
Did you guys take a nap on the way up, or what'd you do here?
No. There was some trail work.
They were doing some trail work, and so we saw all these Forest Service people coming up, and they had cages on their back, like these chicken wire cages or whatever. And we were like, what is this? I finally asked somebody. I said, "Hey, what's that? We're doing work up there. They're big. The cages hold the stone, so they're making like steps and stuff."
Gotcha.
Well, the problem with that is that they're over here working. They've altered the trail to go this way, and there's just a ginormous amount of scree and loose stuff that you could fall on. We've slipped several times, and so when we got a ride around there, we were starting to slip, and it was like I said, it was a lot of it's gradual, and there's switchbacks, but it's still all the way up. I mean, it's up.
Yeah. Good times.
It was a solid grade. I mean, it was looking at, if you really think about the grade, it had to have been, I want to say like 1,200 vertical feet per mile, roughly. So, I mean, it's pretty legit. Yeah.
That's steep. Yeah. That's definitely steep.
Yeah.
So 9 hours later, you guys reached the summit. How are you feeling?
Well,
tired?
All right. So tired, very tired. I mean, exhausted. And it's funny because once you get up to the top, you want to enjoy it, but all you can think about is how tired you are. But, and I'm not afraid to admit this. I will admit this in front of the audience. I actually got very emotional at the top, like very tearful and choked up, mainly because I did it. I'm like, this is done. Not knowing that the trip down was going to be 10 times worse, but yeah, I did it. And I finally got something accomplished that I've been wanting to do for 6 years. And so, yeah, I choked up. I got a little misty. I got a little tear, single tear.
Little tear right there.
Yeah. Although, Jeremy is an emotional rock, so he didn't lump up at all.
I did actually. I mean, I kind of laughed it off when we were up there. I started laughing at him, just like playfully, not meanly, but but I was like, meanwhile, I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, what? That is so funny. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the inside, I was like, I'm so proud of him. He's so wonderful. But honestly, dude, I was like really inspired by you, Chris. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, okay, sure, there's people that like run up the mountains, run down the mountains. I don't care. It's a matter of, yeah. I mean, people have different limits, and your major accomplishment is what you accomplish beyond your limits or beyond what you think that you could do. So it's not about, the adversity of a ultrathon runner. It's the adversity of you and overcoming whatever level that is. And I seen that time and time again on that hike up. I mean, I could just, at one point you're like, I'm going to take 10 steps. I'll take a breath. I'll take another 10 steps. I mean, cause that was probably the one thing that I noticed is like, as soon as you hit, it was like 14,000 feet roughly, or maybe 14,1. It was like kind of a different level of breathing. Like it definitely got rough. Like, yeah. And we actually had a little oxygen meter that we were checking ourselves from the time from the time I got to camp, you guys were checking me. And then when we started going up the hill, we just kept checking each other till what, like 12,500 feet it quit working.
It stopped working. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was at 89. I was maintaining about 89, 90% oxygen the whole time. I think you dropped once or twice.
Yeah, I dropped to 93. Yeah.
Of course you did.
He said some explicits to me. He was not happy with me. Yeah. Actually, when I got to camp, you guys were pretty worried because I think when you checked me, I was at 71, which is that's pretty dang low. And then by the end of the day, I was in the next 2 or 3 hours, I was in the 90s, and then the next day I was good. But yeah.
Yes, we did. I had 4 and he had what, 2?
I had 2. Yep.
And I had 4. I didn't use all 4. I think I used 3 and you used both of yours. Yeah.
Which I'll be honest with you, I was kind of doing as a kind of a precautionary. Like I didn't want to get to where I felt like I might be in trouble. I think if I'd do it again, I'd wait till I felt like I really, really needed to use it. Because I think that might have been part of my problem, like of the issue that I had.
Your coughing problem. Yeah. Why don't you talk about that? How it affected you?
Oh gosh.
Talk about the condition you developed.
Yeah. So we got down that night, or that afternoon. It felt like that night, but we got down and back to camp. And that night, I mean, I was exhausted. I think that was probably the tiredest I've ever been in my life. So I went and
you guys to get back down.
6.
Yeah, it was just it felt like as long as going up. It was terrible.
About that in a second, as far as the trip down, because I have a funny visual for you.
Yeah. So we get back down. I go lay down after eating something. I mean, I brought chili dogs, but I didn't even make them. I think was a Bill and Trail Medic made them for us, the chili dogs. So I went to bed and just started coughing that night. Like just literally felt like I was doing an ab workout, coughing all night. Well, that didn't get any better. And after a couple of nights, I was actually like coughing up foam. So I kept thinking I thought it was like sinus, like the whole time I thought it was sinus. It was a condition. I think it's HAPE. I don't know what that stands for. My brother-in-law's a
high altitude pulmonary embolism.
That's it.
Pulmonary edema.
Edema. Yeah. So, and that persisted pretty much the next 3 or 4 days. And keep in mind, I went down to southern Colorado and I was camping out at 10,500, 11,000 feet the whole time down there too. So when reading into it, when I got back, I should have went below 8,000 feet, like right away. I mean, I just should have. So, but
it actually could have turned much worse.
Yeah. So what it does, I guess it like some of your either your blood vessels or whatever it is in your lungs, kind of like just contract or whatever, and then it starts retaining fluid. Yeah. That's what I was coughing up, was that fluid in my lungs. So it wasn't sinus. Yeah. It was kind of crazy. But the bad thing about that was everything the rest of the week, like I'm a high energy dude. Like if I'm at camp, I'm moving, I'm doing something. It's like, I'm not sitting. I'm not, dude, you wouldn't recognize me. I was like an 80-year-old man just packing up. I mean, I was like, at one point I'm sitting in that tent and I'm sitting in my chair in the tent packing stuff up. And it's like a 80-year-old just packing up his stuff. I mean, it was crazy. I never felt anything like that before in my life. Like just everything was work to do. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things, like, people that live out in the Midwest like we do, Indiana, what are we, maybe 500, 600 feet above sea level,
Yeah.
and then you go out
Yeah.
there, unless you've been around or somebody that's been out there, lives out there, you really don't even understand the effects the high altitude has on the body and the importance of acclimating and maybe not driving across country and then going crazy at high altitudes for a week, Jeremy.
Right. Right.
But that proves that you're just that's you. That's your personality. You are a high energy guy.
Yeah.
And you're not one that sits around the camp.
So
No.
I can tell you, I watched Michael Peterson's video today, and he went out to Colorado, and he was in the Wymanuk wilderness, and he was going to do a few 14ers, and even he felt it. They couldn't. Now I think he ended up doing them, but he didn't acclimate either. So that's the importance of acclimation. That's why I wanted to take that variable out. That's why I camped for a week.
Yeah. And I mean, Michael Peterson, he's another strong hiker. He's he's a strong guy.
Yeah.
He's not, I think it's about my age or so. And like, he's a strong hiker. Like, you wouldn't think much would slow him down, but that high altitude, it doesn't discriminate. So
yeah,
I'm
not a strong hiker. So that's why I needed to do that. And
you
so
acclimated, right?
Yeah, I absolutely, because if I had tried to do what Jeremy did, no, wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about is on the way down, and this is a visual you're going to love. So on the way down, because we did not see the trail going up, we had no real sense of how far we had walked on the way back. So on the way back, the trail just never stopped. It just would not end. And at one point, Jeremy was probably 100 yards in front of me, and I had my pack on, and my actual gait changed to where I was leaning like this, right? And so I was walking like this, and my feet hurt, and so I was also step drag. To make it even worse, for some reason, when I take a step with my left foot, my right arm would flail out like this. I literally looked like a zombie. Literally.
I was ready to stab him in the eye with my trekking pole.
He kept looking back, and I'm like, all I needed was a noise.
If I had a hat and a 44 Magnum, you would have been dead.
But that trail on the way back, because we didn't see it on the way up, we're like, we surely didn't walk all this. And
we did.
We did.
Yeah. And it was really cool too, though. Like, I mean, that it was really cool because all that stuff that we didn't see at night, and then you're walking back through, like, that's an awesome campsite. It's like all the cool spots you just didn't know were there walking in the dark.
Right.
So you know how it is with like the Peninsula Trail. The Peninsula Trail is it's 5 miles, right? But it doesn't feel like it ever ends until you actually see the blue of the lake. Right. Same thing, but just at a much grander scale.
So after you guys finished Elbert, the next was, how long did you guys stay at that campsite? Did you guys
just that night?
That night we parted ways that morning. I went to Arizona to hang out with Brian Gallion, Off Grid Backcountry Adventures, on his homestead. And where did you go, Jeremy?
I went back to Telluride, Ouray. Well, I started off trying to get to St. Elmo, but it was like packed. I mean, because of Labor Day weekend. So went and did the 10 Cup, which is a really cool trail. So went into Prospect Gulch after seeing Corkscrew Gulch and some of those others, and I just wanted to see the mining stuff. I felt like I really, more so than the crazy passes and trails, I wanted to see some history. And that was my whole, drive of doing that, is just seeing cool stuff out there. So, and actually everything was such a shotgun at the start of it. I just wanted to chill the rest of the time. It's like, I didn't want to be in a rush. And and that was the thing too. Like, every night I was coughing. It's how it is. Like, if you get something in your chest, and as soon as you lay down, like, you're coughing the whole time. Yeah. So I stopped at Gunnison Walmart and picked up a bunch of like cough drops and drank Robitussin like it was a Coke Zero. I mean, it was just, but nothing was really helping that much. But it didn't stop me from having a great time. I mean, I was like a little kid, man, just getting to walk through some of the mining buildings or seeing some of the mining stuff. And then seeing probably two of the coolest basins I've ever seen in my life, an American Basin and Yankee Boy Basin. You know, those are just absolutely gorgeous. So, I mean, probably two of the coolest sites, including Titcomb Basin from Wyoming. American Basin's got to beat. I mean, that was by far the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So
very cool. I was hanging out with Brian Gallion, and he took me on a tour. I had a video out about it, but the petroglyphs and the arrowheads and all that, and I got to hang out at his place. And his place is it's nice. I mean,
he's got some amazing places to explore out there.
Yes.
Sure.
And it's right outside. It's between like Flagstaff and Kingman. And he's got BLM land that backs up to him. And then after spending, I think, a day with him, then I shotgunned at home. Talk about shotgun. I did 26-hour straight back home.
Yeah. You did shotgun it.
Yeah. So
although I shotgunned it out there, I did 18 hours out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, everything you did after Elbert, you've got a video coming out tonight that premieres right after this, correct? With the rest of the trip?
Yeah. So I got a video. It'll drop. I think I got it set for like 8:10. It'll have the Elbert hike and then just some of the stuff that I seen afterwards. I mean,
Did you edit out the crying?
Kinda. The battery died. You were lucky.
Okay, good.
So, kinda, yeah. So, but honestly though, I challenge anybody, if you guys watch it, you will see probably the most determined man you ever seen in your life going up and down a mountain. So, and to me, that was the coolest thing ever. I mean, yes, you were walking like a sea. I mean, you were completely. I mean, what was crazy was. Yeah, it was bad. I never seen anything like that before in my life. As soon as he dropped his gate or dropped his backpack, it's like his gate like sprung straight. He's like, shunk, like went straight up after that. I mean, he was exhausted. Like, I don't think you had another 10 steps in you. Like, to be honest with you,
I had nothing.
So, I've literally never seen anybody like leave that much on the trail to get back to their car. I mean, it was insane. So it was probably one of the most impressive.
Well, you remember the joy we felt when we saw the car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was just,
yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, I was actually seeing the car before I seen the car. I was like having hallucinations of it.
Right.
So, Chris, you make it back home. You take, what was it, 1 week off or was it 2 weeks?
1 week.
Okay, 1 week off. And then you get a hair up your butt and decide, I'm going to go climb the tallest mountain east of the Mississippi, right? Mount Mitchell?
Yeah.
And that's in what? Was that North Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah.
North Carolina. So tell us about that little excursion and what sparked that.
Well, you know how it is when you go on a hike and you're like, God, I'm never doing this again. And then you get back and you recover and you're like, wow, that was really fun. You just get into we've all done that, right? We've all done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what happened. That week that I recovered, I was like, I want more. And I know we have plans to do the JMT in 25, and that would be Whitney is part of that. But I'm like, okay, well, I knocked out the highest one in Colorado. This one's only 8 hours away. I can do this in a weekend. Why not try it? So I drove after work on a Friday, 8 hours to North Carolina, and slept a few hours, and then did the 8 hour hike. Well, I don't think it was 5 hour hike up to Mount Mitchell. And I was with these two guys that were freaking awesome. One of them was 71.
Those guys in your video.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
That one, they were fantastic.
One of them was 71. The other one was 74. The younger guy, he's a master naturalist. So he's talking about birds and everything the whole way. We're talking about cows and how they chew cud. Why? I don't know. But I was entertained the whole time. But I tell you what, that Mount Mitchell that's I think we started at 2,500 and we ended up at 6,600.
68, I think.
No, 6,684. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
So that's over 5 miles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not in altitude, but it was in an elevation gain. It was similar to the 14er. Only difference is it had roots and rocks and things you had to climb over, and it was kind of rough in places. But I'm glad I got that done. So now I've got those two out of the way, and now I can concentrate on Whitney in 25. And I've been watching videos on it.
You have or haven't?
I have.
Yeah. That'll be a tough climb, especially at the end, if we get to do it the way I want to do it. I want to end at Whitney. I want to do the JMT and end. That's the epic way to do it. You end
the climactic end. Yeah.
You got a goal to get to. It's like the epic goal of the last day on trail, getting up early and catching the sunrise on Whitney. That's my dream.
I'm down for that if we can get the permit.
Good.
Dude, I've been looking up that application
No
process.
problem.
It is 26,000 applications and only I think 20% get a permit.
That's crazy.
If I'm correct in this, I read something that says that like when you apply, you have to give like your first choice date, and then I think you give 2 or 3 more like alternate dates. So if you don't get picked for the first one or the second one or the third one, then you can reapply for different dates after that. So I mean, we say 2025, we'll be lucky to get a permit, I think, and I guess you are lucky if you get one, period. But
and here's the other thing. They also disqualify you if your name appears in, they've got it down now. They disqualify you if your name appears in more than one group. So let's say, and you have to list out everybody in your group. So if I apply, you apply, Nicole applies, and we all list each other, we all get disqualified.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, so you can't like have a group of 4 and each person in the group apply.
You cannot do that. No, now with Half Dome you could do that. That's how we were able to get one for Half Dome. But for this, no.
Yeah.
Huh.
Welcome to California.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
But no, so Chris, props to you, man. You definitely accomplished a goal that you've been wanting to knock out for the last 6 years. Now we won't have to hear about, I'm training for Elbert, I'm going to do it now.
No, he almost died on Elbert.
Now we can't make those jokes anymore about like Mount Elbert. Where's that at? So props to you. Seriously, dude, I'm proud of you. I know you trained hard this year with the 75 hard and everything to make sure you were in good physical shape. So if the weather cooperated, you could accomplish that goal. And then coming right back a week later, and you're like, hell with it, I'm going to do Mitchell too. So props to you, man. Getting after accomplishing those life goals.
There would be no way I could have done this without Jeremy. No way.
Oh,
I wanted to give up so many times. I mean, I was at one point, he was in front of me and I was sending him telepathic messages to stop and turn around. And
I did. I got him.
But we had to take a blue zillion breaks. A blue zillion, by the way. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without him, because if I had tried to do this by myself, I would have turned back long ago. He was a motivating force. So props to Jeremy, and props to Jeremy for doing it after that, not having any sleep. I mean, geez, that's crazy talk.
I'll be honest with you. When I was laying on my cot, because I had my fancy cot with my wool blanket, I'm like, I'm going to sleep great tonight. No, I'm like, clock watching the whole time. I looked at my my phone at like 1:55 or something like that a.m. And I'm like legitimately thinking to myself, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I got to get up in 5 minutes. I literally don't want to do this. I don't even like 14,000 foot mountains. But honestly, I think that
anyway, you know that, right?
I do know you would have went anyways. I do know that, but I think is the fact that I already said I was going to go. Like once I say I'm going to do something, I can't go back on it. It'll eat at me. So, and then sure enough, Chris, are you up? Yep. So 2 a.m. Here we go.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
so, but
props to
again,
you,
it was.
Chris
go
finally
ahead.
found a way to slow you down, Jeremy. He's the only person I've ever. You're the only person I've known that's ever done it, man. Like you said.
I mean, I've never felt like that in a camp before in my life. I'm like literally up doing something because I just can't sit down. I mean, in the first video, that big rock. I was taking that big. I had a machete in a saw in the Bronco. I just decided not to use it. Like, that looks like a cool rock. I'm just gonna smash this log with that until I get my firewood. Just because, it's like I mean, it's just I got to constantly be doing something, and that was a weird feeling. So, but I think the only thing that really sketched me out about that whole hike was probably that construction area on the way down. That was not comfortable. I mean, I don't know how more people didn't get hurt coming down that thing. That was not cool at all.
And we had tons of people passing us, and I was fine
Yeah.
with that. Just, come on.
Yep.
Come on. Don't care. I'm not in the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that, and then, the next goal is going to be Whitney, and I'm definitely going to be training for that. Even if we don't do it, even if we don't get the permit, I'm still going to train for it.
I'm definitely, I mean, you got to be ready, right? Just in case, but I'll definitely be up in the training for that, my cardio, because that's, hiking out here in Indiana is one thing. You take half your oxygen away, it's gonna be a lot harder on all of us. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that in 2025 if we can get the permits. So coming back to this year, I know I haven't done much this summer. I don't know what you guys have gotten into. I know we had one trip out to the Deem. We got Jason and Nicole and Ross and
we went kayaking.
Keith came out. Yeah, well, went to the Deem there. Then you and I did the kayak trip, and that was fun.
Yeah,
getting out. You have to get you a kayak now.
I'm working on
it. So Chris got a new piece of gear recently.
Yeah,
talk about that. How's that coming along?
Well,
it's got 4 wheels.
Oh,
it's got 4 wheels.
And it's a runner.
I'm sorry. Hold on, everybody. I apologize for that. I forgot who I was talking to. Like, you get a new piece of gear every day. Like Amazon, the FedEx guy and the UPS and the USPS, they all hate you because they come to your house.
Oh, I high five them at the door now.
Right. Chris has cookies, Yeah.
I traded in the old Clifford the Big Red Tundra, and I got a Toyota 4Runner 2019 off-road, and I love it. And it did really well out west. It gets great gas mileage. I got the lockers, I got the crawl, I got all that fancy stuff I'll probably never use. But
yeah, will. we'll make sure of that, won't we, Brian?
Oh yeah, he's already trying to get out of taking it anywhere. He's like, no, I'll just ride with you in my truck. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, you'll get great video footage,
dude. You're 4Runner. You put a little lift on there and some good tires, and it's more capable than my Tacoma for sure.
Yeah,
you got lockers.
They're crazy.
They're really good, man.
Yeah, but what you don't realize is that inside I'm a little girl. So
you rode with me off road, and you scream.
Right. I'm a little scared girl inside to drive.
I don't know if it's I drive bad or it's just what we're driving on is bad, but you scream.
I did.
It
was cracking me up.
So, Metro's asking if I have a picture. I don't know that I do.
You got one on Instagram?
No.
It's silver.
Yeah. I'm calling it. I called the truck. I called it Clifford because it's red. This one I'm calling Silverback because I'm essentially a Silverback.
I like that, man. We'll take the old silverback out on the trails. We're gonna take the silverback out on the trails. I like
Oh,
Let me
it.
see if
Metro,
I
he's
can-
got a TRD off road.
Yeah.
It's not the pro, but it's off road. Which,
I'm okay with
my
that. I don't
opinion,
need.
I mean,
heated
the
seats.
the pros are nice. I mean, they got a little upgraded here and there, but really, if you get the off road and then you sink the money that you'd spend on the pro, you can get a better suspension what the pro comes with. My opinion.
Yeah. Let me.
Don't tell Taylor from Southern Hikes because he's got a Tacoma TRD Pro, but
There we go. There it is. Right in front of Wheat Jesus.
Wheat Jesus.
No, it's Wheat Jesus. See, he's holding up wheat.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, lots of potential there. We'll be lifting it and everything else, right, Chris?
Well, we're definitely going to put the ditch lights on first. That's the first thing we're doing.
Oh,
So
the
you got your choice.
what
now,
ditch
Chris.
lights you're going?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Sorry.
He's got a choice now. He can have the 2-inch lift that came with my truck or the 3-inch lift that I just recently took off my truck. So
This
Whatever
brought to
you'd
you by. So these are, what's the name of what's it called?
Colite. Colite.
Yeah. So Jeremy.
Yeah, the
Jeremy,
Rob 2s.
Yeah. These are going to go on the Tundra or Tundra. Forerunner. And then I'm going to put a light bar, but the light bar is not going to be a permanent. It's going to be on a magnet. But yeah, look at these. Look at that.
Those look so good.
Yeah, it's going to look good. So I got the switch for it. I got the harness. I got everything ready to go. So Carlson's going to put it on for me.
Oh, what a great
I'm
guy.
the install guy. Listen, he can't do that. He's not mechanically inclined. Very smart fella, not very mechanically inclined.
I'm not. And I would ruin it. I would like push the button and the radio would come on or something like that. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you hear that, Chris? You can have a 2-inch or a 3-inch, whatever you like. You can have my either one of my lifts I took off my truck.
Well, what do you suggest? What's not going to ruin my drive shaft and all that?
I would stay with 2-inch.
Okay, we'll do the
That'll
2-inch.
keep your ball joints a little bit better angle and your axle shafts, all that good stuff.
Right.
It'll be a little
Well,
happier.
You don't,
Easy talking about my ball joints and my shaft. Easy there, buddy.
Same thing with a ball joint. It's an axle shaft.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It will
Well,
keep your ball
hey,
joints at right angle. Like I said, it's that.
and Brian, you just put on some new Bill signs on yours, right? How do you like them?
Yeah,
I gotta,
dude. I didn't think I'd be able to tell much of a difference just regular road driving.
yeah.
But yeah, just like stuff like I cross the road tracks going to work every morning. I can just tell, like just going over those, like it just doesn't have that hard bump. And I don't know, I can't wait to get them off the road because it'll be a little bit longer travel. Because with stock ones, I had a 3-inch spacer lift on those, but when I had my stock shocks, and they just don't travel down as far. So you get a wheel up in the air and the shock bottom's up. With these, I have about 2 inches more travel down. So hopefully help keep my wheels on the ground too. But now I'm excited to get it off road and try it out now. So I got them all the way around.
Nice.
I tell you who's excited about going off road, and that would be Mr. Trail Medic.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's a little excited about it.
Good. That was actually really cool of him and Bill and Gary to all hang out in Colorado.
Yeah.
Side note,
to see us go, and we were in contact with them while we were up on the mountain, and they had binoculars. They were staring, and they were trying to pick us out.
No, let's tell this story how it is. So we're trying to climb this mountain, right? So we're at this point, we're well over 13,000 feet. And I can hear on Chris's phone talking to Keith, trying to figure, they're literally wanting to see where we're at through the binoculars. So there's people all around us, and Chris is like phoning up to his ear and then waving his trekking poles. Then he's turning in circles, so they're trying to see his backpack. I mean, he's everything short of shooting up flares. Like they were literally trying to find us. So like Chris, at one point, I'm pretty sure he said, "I'm not doing that." So I don't know what that was.
He wanted me to twerk or something. I don't know.
Work, yeah.
Usually I'm okay with that, but not on a mountain full of people.
Yeah, that's a waste of oxygen at that altitude.
Right. Yeah.
Kilquist said they're going with Fox suspension setup. Heard good things. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Fox shocks.
Fox is good.
Yeah,
Fox is good. I'm a big Bill.
Fox is like a step above Bilstein for sure.
It is. I'm planning on sticking with Bilsteins. I already have Bilsteins now. But I'm going to, just because of the way they make their valves, they kind of taper down. So it really helps at high speed. So when you're doing the sand dunes or the high speed bumps, the faster you go with Bilsteins, and you'll find this out with yours too, that digressive valve, the faster you go over bumps, the smoother it gets. So it's actually really, really incredible. So, and they're just, I don't know, they just fit the Bronco well, but the Sassy will be up another 3 inches here very, very soon.
So started working on that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done the lift yet. I've got the lift. I've just got to put it on. I've got to order some spring compressors. I don't have those, or I might just stop in Harbor Freight and grab some. But yeah, that's going to be happening soon.
New springs, or do you have the Bilstein, the adjustable ones like mine, where you have that circle clip that you can adjust them?
No. So I went with Icon. Icon's got a lift kit that is under the top hat and above the top hat, so it separates the 3-inch to 1.5 and 1.5, so that way you don't overextend your CVs, and you don't even have to change your upper control arms. So literally, I'll just put this on and I'm ready for 37s.
Nice.
Wow.
See, that's my next upgrade is upper control arms, because 3 inches as high as you want to go, then your ball joints will start to get out of whack. And mine are like right there at the end, so I need to get some ball joints. But I did the differential drop on mine too, so it drops it down to get my. Otherwise, my CV shafts were like this, and now they're a lot flatter, a lot more happy.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that'll be nice.
They know what they're doing, man. They really do. They're pretty smart. So I trust them. It's really just kind of a step to eventually get where I want to get. I mean, my dream is portals, like that. Like someday maybe be able to just slap portals on it and have a 4-inch lift and 42-inch tires or whatever, But
5 years from now, Jeremy's gonna have 1-ton axles. No.
Yeah, there is a Bronco out there that
has tons.
I don't think it's tons, but I know he's got a solid front axle on a new Bronco. I can't remember the name of them, but I came across him on Instagram, and it looks incredible. Like that.
A lot of people,
a lot of money.
We'll put like Dana 60s, and then like the next step is up to like the 1 tons, and that's getting like ridiculous. 44s, 42, stuff like that. You're not going to break anything on a 1 ton. You don't have the horsepower. But
no. That is the one thing bad about the Broncos versus some of the other more aspirated engines, because of the turbo in the Broncos. When you get to those high elevations, it just gets doggy. So I mean, it really, really starts to. I mean, you use 4 low, so you're fine, but it definitely loses a lot of power until you get below like 8,000 feet. I think it's something like 3% for every 3,000 feet or something like that. You lose like 3% of your horsepower for every 3,000 feet. Is there some equation for it? But I have noticed that. But it's all right. I'm not in a hurry anyways, and it's got enough to get me there.
Right. So speaking of off-road, Jeremy, have you seen all the new additions to the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway, like the old Furnace Road and all that stuff?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the map yet. And actually, funny enough, somebody who's kind of came into our group, if you guys ever watch Cattywampus Overlanding, Kelly, that has the Ram, he's kind of he may be doing a trip with us. So, which will be really, really cool to see a power wagon on 37s. Between him and Sparky and his Raptor, that might be a really, really fun trip. So, but our
tricycles with their monster trucks, right?
Yeah, right. But he was talking about that. So I wonder if he knows the actual route. I haven't bought the map yet, but it's supposed to be a really cool overlanding route. So I'm interested in.
Already done it. They already did it with so a guy went to I didn't go to school with him, but he went to a different high school same time, and we all had mutual friends. I've known him since high school. His name's Luke, and he is in Coddywample's videos. He's got a white Land Cruiser. It's up on 40s. So if you ever see him,
nice.
Well, the guy, he does a lot of the mapping. He works with the DBBB Foundation and stuff for the preservation of the trails and the
that's cool.
rides and all stuff. He takes a lot of guys out on beginners out on the trails and stuff. But yeah, he was in their video too, and he helped map all that. And so they've got a video out now, Cottywample does, and it shows you like all the new sections of the trails and the big iron furnaces down there. So I'm thinking
I love that stuff.
A winter trip down there, man, sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Speaking of trips, do we want to talk a little bit about the Indiana meetup?
We have one of those.
Sometimes we do, yeah. Which Jeremy's not going to be at this one, so I don't know what we're going to eat.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that is. Sorry, guys. I can't make it, man. Yeah. I mean, maybe I can make some and send some down for you guys or something.
Mail
Nice. I've got something that you might make you go.
Oh, great.
Oh boy.
Hello from Mike is at camp. Lower Michigan Adventures, they're at camp. Everybody's at camp right now.
That's awesome.
So
jealous. I'm in my yard.
Yeah. Huh?
Look what he's got. A company sent him.
Oh man.
Can you imagine
Oh,
your
man.
on that?
That's a hot dog
I think we're going to be able to feed the multitude.
We could plug that in and have hot dogs going. You with your chili. Oh, wait a minute. You're not going to be there. Never mind.
I'm going to start.
I'll be at the spring one. I'll bring it the spring one.
Not a guilt trip at all, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I think last time I brought that and pulled pork and I think pork loin. So I like to do that, man. If anybody that ever gets to go on an off-roading trip or anything, it's even worse. I love to cook for people. So I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Feeding people.
Yeah.
So we got like 3 minutes left. Chris, if you want to throw out the dates and the information and all the good stuff on the Indiana meetup coming up this month.
And yeah. So we are we're gonna have not a chili contest, a chili potluck on Saturday. We're gonna have a giveaway. Man, I am trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff. So make sure you're here for the giveaway, and it's family friendly. It is going to be it's going to be a good time. We're one thing I wanted to ask people who are coming is that if people can just bring a bundle of wood, so that we can have enough. We usually do, but I just wanted to make sure to mention that because I don't want to have to go into town and get more. So yeah, we will be there on Friday. We'll be there early on Friday, or at least I will. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be, it's always fun, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Yep. Good times. I'm looking forward to it. So, well, I guess so
let's head on over to
episode 1 of season 2. Everybody here, head over to All Things Outdoors after this. Would you say at 8:10, Jeremy? It's gonna
8:10. The premiere should kick off. So yeah. So I mean, watch it live with everybody. I mean, it'd be cool. So it won't be long. It's not a huge long trip. I had to edit a lot of the stuff out because of my coughing
and my coughing.
Yeah. And is crying.
And crying. Right. Yeah, it's not much left after that.
So outside of that, it'll take like 3 minutes. So, but no, but it was really a great trip. And Chris, dude, thanks you for including me. I mean, honestly, because that literally was probably one of the best trips I've ever been on my life from start to finish. I mean, it just was such a great time, whether it was solo or whatever, hanging out with you was a good time. Seeing Gary, all those guys.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was, I'm glad I got it done and, on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys for your time and showing up tonight, and everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming over and spending an hour with us on our first episode back for this season.
Yeah,
try to
we
do
got
this same
some great
schedule. Like,
guests coming up too.
we're going to try to do the same schedule as we did last year, like every other Wednesday, so I don't get too stressed out. And we, like Chris said, we got some great guests coming up this year, so we're excited to get season 2 kicked off here. But again, thanks everybody for your time. Thanks for hopping in and commenting and being part of the show. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Get out and explore.
Peace.
Peace.